disagree, is that the best B2B marketers take an empathetic approach first. They want to understand what their customers want, need, and desire of them, and build content around that first and foremost before they ask for the sale, before they talk about who they are and why they're great. Agree or disagree? Tim?
I agree that, I think, and it's, so the first thing that comes to mind is it's tough for people who've been working in marketing for a long time to make that shift, because we are trained and our budget comes from, and we've been graded on for so long talking about why we're great. So content marketing is a dramatic shift from that. When you get into storytelling, and the way to, I think the best way to empathize, one of the things that we're doing is we have a voice of the customer team where we're trying to get away from telling our stories, but tell the stories of our customer. And inside of there, when you talk about how they transform their business, sometimes there's a role for where Cisco's discussed. And I do think it's important that comes up naturally, that it's not forced.
Okay, fair enough. And so what I'm hearing there is social proof persuasion. When you tell your stories, you want to let other folks know that folks just like them have purchased product from Cisco, if you will, in that storytelling process. Is that fair?
That's not the goal. I don't believe that should be necessarily the goal. Okay. I mean, there's a wide range of what you need to do in marketing, and so some of that is true for a portion of it. I focus more on just the pure storytelling, just telling a true, authentic story that's not necessarily tied to a product. I think it's better to focus on, okay, how can we tell a story about the problem that we can help solve?
Fair enough. Wendy?
Agreed. And at Mitel, we're transitioning to the buyer personas and understanding, and we're actually building out our content. So before we even start and talk about our capabilities, what we do is we understand to that persona, what are the business problems they have today.
Love it.
And we start out and say, typically 80% of the time in working with someone just like you, these are the business problems that they encounter. And then from there, we talk about, what are some of your objectives, your business objectives, how it may tie to your pain points. So we go through this whole process, and at the very end, we talk about capabilities. So we lay it out, and we're transitioning to this. We're not there yet, but we're kind of flipping the way we market our products.
I love it. And can I ask you a question about
Sure.
that? Because that's fantastic. I mean, I think the notion of personas is incredibly important to marketers. What information are you looking for when you're building that out? Because there's the one-to-one explicit conversations you have, but there's also this notion of implicit data that you can infer based off of how they actually interact with your digital presence. Are you leveraging that as well, or what else are you doing to build robust personas?
So we're starting out with research. We're researching. We're understanding why people have bought our products. We're researching our target audience. What are their pain problems? We're going to the industry, getting stats.
Okay.
So what we want to say is, if customers just like you, per the industry, here's some stats. They have the problem like that you have. You're not alone.
Sure.
Right. And then the last thing we do after we talk about our capabilities, we also bring in our customer success story. So we have a really good story to tell around a particular problem.
I love it. Mike.
So let me add to what you're saying. In addition to the personas, I also think targeting by where they're at in the funnel is key as well. I think in today's world, people are offended when content they receive, whether it's an asset they downloaded, an ad they saw on Gmail, they get offended if it's not related to them or their work. For instance, I'm in marketing. If I got an ad on accounting software, I wouldn't. Why is this accounting software popping up, right? Now, flashback 30 years ago, you got what you got, right?
Yep.
You're like the billboard driving down the road. So I think it's just going to be even more imperative down the road, even 5 years down the road, that every message we send, no matter what channel it goes down, it has to be a one-to-one message. Now that makes our job extremely difficult. Doing persona-based content is hard enough. Now I have to add in funnel layers, and you could have dozens and dozens of pieces of content. You have an army of content people. So I think the trick is also finding that right balance of, all right, I can't, create hundreds of pieces of content to line up with every single person yet. So what can I do with the resources I have available?
Yeah,
So
totally.